don't know if there's any. Probably should just leave that go down. Go to politics. All right, back to my video game.
What game you playing there?
Wulong.
The Wulong.
Yes, I like it a lot. I like the combat system. It's very smooth. It's not stupid like Dark Souls.
Did you play Dark and Darker when that was out?
I don't know. Doesn't sound familiar.
All right, you're gonna have to play. I'm gonna introduce you to Dark and Darker next, Pat. Next time they do a playtest, and you're gonna fall in love with it. Best combat system ever. It's just they're doing playtests right now, so it's not like it's out yet.
Best combat system ever is Ninja Gaiden 2. That has the best combat system ever.
I mean, maybe not after you play Dark and Darker.
There's 0% chance it's going to be as good as Ninja Gaiden. Hello.
I think it's the best game ever made.
Have you played Ninja Gaiden 2 yet?
I think I played it on, that was like Xbox 360, right?
Yep.
I think I played that on Xbox 360.
7 HP. Bless you.
I did like the Ninja Gaiden games. Those were very good games. I was terrible at them though.
This is interesting. Why is the chat is showing up on my PlayStation? Like, so guys in my wow, okay. Guys in my Twitch stream, is my video game showing up or is my Discord showing up? Because I'm streaming in 2 different places at once and I didn't realize it, and this is interesting. Because I was on PlayStation 5, it has the ability to stream to like Discord or whatever, or to stream to Twitch and YouTube. And so I've been streaming my Wulong on my Twitch, but then I just started streaming for this. And so now apparently it's streaming to both, but I just see, so they see me on Discord.
Your Twitch is showing your game.
It is?
Yeah, I just checked.
Awesome. I like that. I very prefer that. Can you hear my audio?
Oh, I already left. We're just asking for, I'll go back, I guess. We got 2.
Amy. Because it would be perfect if you could hear my audio on my. I need to disable that stupid War Thunder garbage. I fucking hate those ad things. I tried that once, didn't work at all.
Okay, say something.
Potato. I mean, you should be able to hear yourself too, right? Hopefully.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not hearing any talking. I'm just hearing the game sound.
All right.
It's just game sound on there.
Okay. Yeah, I've been having that. I like to, because Discord just added the new feature to stream your audio directly to whatever Discord. Stream your Discord speech to your PlayStation, but it doesn't broadcast it, which makes it completely useless. Like, because if I could broadcast the audio.
Are we going to start this, or do you still need a minute?
No, I'm fine. We're already started. So I've already started streaming on my end. Oh God, I just fell. God damn it. That looked like a bridge. That really looked like a bridge. Oh wait, maybe I didn't die because now I have 1 HP for some reason. Did the enemies respawn?
All right, we're getting an announcement real quick.
Yeah, it looks like they respawned.
All right, so TJump is an atheist, philosopher, aspiring president of the United States. He runs he runs a biweekly stage theist helpline with us here, and he has his own YouTube. He has tens of what you're probably up to like 14,000 subscribers now, right?
Yeah, I sell bathtubs. Introduction over. That's fine.
Yeah, and he likes potatoes. Anyways, we've got a few people with their hands raised. We'll start the AMA. Percentile or percentage?
So Nathan Levy asked if I play Wulong. I'm playing it right now. You should be able to see it on my Twitch if you go to my Twitch, and I enjoy it quite a lot. It has a great combat system, far better than Dark Souls. Dark Souls is garbage. All right, question mark guy or percent guy. What do you want?
Hello, it's me, Percent. You can call me Clay though, if it's easier for you. My name's Clay. All right, so first of all, in general, how can you even debunk that God does not exist? Because I think God exists.
Depends. Like, there's lots of ways. Like, the easiest way is to say anything that has no evidence is rational to believe it's imaginary and doesn't exist in reality until you provide evidence that can differentiate imagination from reality.
Right, evidence. But so what do you regard as evidence?
Anything that can differentiate imagination from reality.
But how can you even do that?
Depends on your epistemology. Like, my epistemology
Can you
says...
even listen? Can you even differentiate that we're like in reality right now?
Yes,
How?
because I exist. I mean, I can't not be in reality
But how do you know that you exist?
because I'm thinking.
Okay, yeah, so you're observing that you exist, correct?
Yes.
Yes, so listen to this. Listen to this. So, I confirm by observing that when I flip coins in my room and when I open a book, it talks to me, okay?
Okay.
That's what I'm observing, right? And I observe that God is speaking to me. That's what I observe in my reality. Now, how can
Okay.
you debunk this? Explain.
Well, the reason
that
I
is what
know
I observe.
so the reason I know I exist isn't because the specific things that I'm observing are necessarily true, but the fact that I'm observing is necessarily true. So, like, what I'm seeing is currently the game Wulong on PlayStation 5, but I could be under a delusion. I don't know that. But even if I'm under a delusion, I still exist. Because if to have a delusion, you must exist. But you could be having a delusion and your God doesn't exist, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So my claim, or that I exist, only entails that I'm having an experience, even if the experience is false. Whereas your claim entails that you're having an experience and that your experience is true. I really need to get rid of that garbage stream elements. And so my claim I can be sure is correct, whereas your claim you have to go a further step and say you believe that you're having an experience and the experience is true. And so you have a further burden of proof to demonstrate how you think that your experience of talking to God is actually true and not just a figment of your imagination. My experience, even if it's a figment of my imagination, I still exist. And so my claim is fine.
But you don't know that though.
Yes, I do.
How do you know for sure? How do you know for certain that you exist?
Because I cannot believe I exist and be wrong.
What? Explain what you mean.
Okay. Is it possible for someone, anyone, including yourself, to believe that you exist and be wrong?
Yes.
Okay. How exactly? How? Go ahead, explain
Because
that.
I mean, you are just observing something, but you cannot know for certain that what you're observing is actually real. I mean,
Okay,
how can you even do that?
Okay, so let's say I believe I exist, so I don't. That means I have a belief, right? I have a belief that I exist. And existence just means you are a thing that exists. And so, or in reality. And so, how can you have a belief in reality? It means you have a brain or whatever that has a belief and be wrong. It means you'd have to have a belief and not exist while having the belief. Right? You follow?
I'm following.
So you can't both have a belief and not exist, because to have a belief, you have to exist, right?
No.
What? How can you not exist and have a belief?
I mean, first of all, it really depends on what you mean by exist. What do you even mean by exist?
Is a
What
thing
do you
in
mean by that?
reality.
Well, no. I mean, you don't know that you're in reality. How do you know that
Okay,
you're
how
not in
can
a
I have a
simulation?
belief and not exist in reality.
You think people in a simulation, like a very
That's-
advanced simulation, could not have beliefs?
That would still be reality. So if they exist in in like a simulation,
Yes,
the
it would be
simulation
your
exists in
own
reality.
reality,
No,
right? Your own
reality is just
defined
all
reality.
things that exists. So if you exist in like the Matrix, you still exist.
Right, so it exists because you're observing it.
No, it exists because it's a part of reality. Ooh, panda.
And why is it a part of reality?
Why is it a part of? I don't know.
Yeah, why? What do you define as a part of reality?
Everything that exists. Like what? This is not hard.
Okay, so when I flip coins in my book, and when I look at numbers and they're speaking to me, I observe that as real in my reality.
Yeah.
Now, how is that not real to you?
Well, you must exist to have that experience. So I agree that you exist. But if your experience corresponds to reality is a different question than if you exist. So I agree that if you have an experience of a book talking to you, you must exist. Does it mean that the book is talking to you? No. So there's two claims there. One is that you exist. Two is that the book is talking to you. To have an experience means yes, you definitely exist. Does not mean the book is talking to you.
What?
So
How can you say
I
that?
have an experience of a TV.
God
Does that mean
talks,
I
dude.
exist? Well, God doesn't exist, so you got no, he doesn't. It's your imagination.
Well, he is. He's literally speaking to me. I'm observing in my reality that God is speaking to me.
Yes,
What do you
people
mean?
observe leprechauns too. Does that mean leprechauns are real? No,
Sure.
no,
Why not? That's what they're observing in their reality.
because observations can be a figment of your imagination and therefore not a part of reality.
But life in itself could be a figment of your imagination.
No, it can't.
Yes, it can. And your
No,
argument
it
as to why it
can't.
isn't is super weak.
It's actually a logical proof. So if you exist and you
Mhm.
have thoughts, there's no way you can't not exist. There's no way for
Actually,
you to be a figment.
in presuppositions,
Not a
the whole idea
presupposition.
of no, listen, but in precepts, the whole idea, atheist idea of why you are in reality is because you observe that you are in reality, just like I
Precepts are
observe that God
morons and they have
speaks
no
to me.
logical basis. So your observations don't matter.
How does it not matter? That should account for
Because
everything.
all of your
I mean,
observations
you're
could be
saying that you
wrong.
observe
Say
reality, and
all
that's
of
why
your
it's real.
observations are wrong. Every single one of them. They're all false.
Mhm.
But the fact that you have observations means you exist. So all of your observations could be false, but you can still prove that you exist. I hate fucking stream elements.
The argument is weak.
No,
God
it's
talks, dude. When
pretty
I
strong.
open pages in my book, I work as a software developer. Okay.
I don't care.
When I read and write the numbers, they fucking talk to me. Okay.
I don't care.
Right. So listen to me. Okay. Just listen. So when the CIA is in the computer room, they look at my code. You know, they're trying to find out how I
Still do
cheat.
not
Okay.
care. Do you have any evidence?
Let me finish. Please let me
No,
finish.
no, it's my Q&A. Do you have any evidence? I'm not interested in your life story. I really don't
Yes,
care.
I'm coming to it. I'm coming to it.
Start with that
Right.
and then tell me things.
Right. So they're looking at the numbers and
I don't
they
care about
see
the
that
CIA.
they observe that they're changing, right? So they're wondering, like, how is he cheating
I'm ready
the
to go to
system,
the next
right?
guy.
All right.
In reality,
Thank you for coming up, Percentage. The next person we have, Charlie. I'm moving you to number 2 in queue. Change your or he's got your profile. Do you want me to pull him up?
What? I don't understand the question. Like my picture? I don't care if he uses my
Yeah.
picture.
Okay. I'll pull him up. Charlie.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So big fan, first of all.
That's great.
I was wondering, what was like your best debate, like ever? Like you walked the debate saying, "Yeah, I did a good job, and it was a good debate."
Depends on your criterion. Like I like money, so for me, my best debate is the one that gets me the most money.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Is that it, Charlie?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Have a good one, man. All right. We've got a name I can't read. What's going on?
You should up your reading comprehension.
Can you read that?
I have no idea because I'm looking at Wulong. So, new guy, what questions you got?
Oh, he's having issues. I'm gonna move you back to the audience. You're gonna want to exit out of stage and then rejoin. You've been in queue for a while, so it probably jacked it up because you're on the phone. So back out of the stage and then rejoin, and I'll pull you back up.
Hey, Woody, how's it going?
Okay. I'm here. Finally.
It's working.
Okay.
It is working. Okay. So let me back the god up. Okay. Hey, Chomp, can you look in our DMs? I've sent you some sources about that god may
I
exist
have absolutely no
in
interest to
your
read
family.
sources. If you're going to pay me, I'll read sources. Otherwise, I'm not going to read sources.
Hey, you. Hold on. I would like to get paid to read some books. Yes. So can you pay me read some books to
No.
disprove some godness creation?
No, because I don't care what
Yes.
you think. So, do you
what
have,
is
do you have,
this
what's your
double
argument? Do you have arguments, evidence, anything?
Lemao.
Labao is not an argument.
Lemao is like laughing my ass out. Yeah. I just laugh my ass out because this is a double standard. Why would I pay you to read some
if you want me
books
to
or
read your
some
sources, then you're going to have to pay me because I'm not going to waste my time with your garbage.
Okay, hold on a
Do you
minute.
have
We're
any-
gonna
do
make
you have
a
any
deal.
evidence?
Yes.
No. Do you have any evidence?
Evidence, miracles. Miracles.
No miracles
Prophecies.
happen.
There's prophecies or
Prophecies
miracles.
don't happen.
Yes. The prophets all did the miracle and all did the prophecies.
They did
The
not.
prophecies has begun with the time by on. Okay? So
Okay,
the Euphrates River
the correct way
is
is you have to start with
drying up.
evidence
And
is
every prophet
evidence
has
is stop
proved it.
stop talking. What is the evidence you think happens? Give an example of something you think is a miracle.
Evidence the possessed people when you recite the Quran upon them. Yes, and they're gonna
There are no
gonna
possessed
be,
people. Science has
and then
debunked
you
that.
see- debunk that.
Yes.
Give me source. I need source.
Okay.
Yes,
can just
if you have
Google
no source,
possession.
if you have no source
Possession. Google
from
medical,
my
Google,
perspective,
shush. Google any information in the medical field about possession, and it will all say it was a false information that was made up by mystics who didn't understand biology, and we now know that it's actually natural phenomenon caused in the body that we cure with medicine. That's how science does things in the West.
medicine.
Yes, medicine.
Yeah, you good or some?
Am I good at some?
I've seen with my own eyes. People got possessed. The medicine couldn't cure them. The medicine couldn't cure them.
Okay, again,
I don't know what
it's
you're
been
talking
debunked.
about.
There is
My
no
own eyes.
possessions. There are zero possessions in reality. That's why science doesn't treat them because they are fake. It is a figment of your imagination.
This is so illogical. I've seen it.
How is that illogical?
Because if I'm gonna give you black magic, you're gonna be humbled. Yes.
Okay, go for it. Go do the black magic.
Oh, okay, go for it. So I need your face. I need some
You need my
witches.
face.
I
And
need
some
some,
witches. I need some witches too.
Yeah, witches. Yeah, it is the language of witch.
Language
yes.
of witches. Okay, go for it. Go for it. Like,
And then we will see, like, if you're gonna see some ghost or see any
hey,
other
I got one for you.
paranormal stuff.
I will write down a number on a piece of paper right in front of me. It's a 6-digit number. You use your witches. Tell me what that number is. Go.
Bro, hold on. So I have to tell my witch to send them a ghost to you to know the 6 digits of the number that you wrote.
That would be a great evidence. Yes.
This is like semantics. This is literally semantics.
No, it's
The reasons why
novel
this is
prediction.
semantics because you don't. Like, listen, your human instincts, it is feeling that is their God, but your value of life is saying no. I don't want to follow God because I am not a slave.
whoa.
I
We were
am not a
talking about
slave.
evidence. Wait, stop. Remember, we were asking for
Yeah,
evidence. And
but
you said you
I
have
would take
magic.
every part. I would take
Stop
every
talking.
part
Stop
of
talking.
atheism. I would take every
Stop
part
talking.
what atheism
Stop
speaks
talking.
about it.
Stop talking. You're gonna get muted.
Why would I?
So again, you were asking for evidence. Like, we're here to talk. If you said you wanted to present evidence of a god, feel free to present evidence of a god, and you can do
he
that.
left.
That's fine. So
Another name I can't read. Oh, he's got a easier name. Suleiman.
Hello, can you hear me?
hello.
How you doing?
Sound a lot like Philip Amon.
Right. Taka was telling me that you created your own church. I wanted to know
Yes.
more about that.
Okay. I started an atheist church. It's built around my model of morality. The goal is to buy an apartment building and provide affordable housing for people. And that is the main gist of it.
Right. Do you do it out of spite of Christians or just out
No.
of your own goodwill?
Own goodwill. I don't care. I'm
Right,
working with
okay.
Christians.
Mm-hmm. Right. I had another question. What is your main argument against the existence of God or an intelligent creator?
There's no evidence for it, just like there's no evidence for magic or miracles or mythical creatures, paranormal, supernatural, or UFOs. And for things that
Mhm.
have no evidence, you're rational to conclude that they are a figment of people's imagination.
Right. I find it strange that you come to the conclusion that we came by chance easier to swallow than an intelligent being designed us, or at least guided us into being born.
Well, that's what the evidence indicates. So that's not just
Right.
like, you're not just like taking two hypotheses. You're taking
Mhm.
one hypothesis that makes novel testable predictions and has been confirmed by thousands of empirical pieces of data, and the other one which has no evidence. And so I'm going to go with the one that has lots of the evidence. That's the one I'm going to go with.
Okay, thank you. That's the only question I
All
had.
right, no problem. Thanks, appreciate it.
Thank you. And then abysmal. Probably pronounce that poorly.
Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yep. How's it going?
Pretty good. Yourself?
All right.
All right. So I had a very short question, then a follow-up question based on your answer to that, if it's okay.
Sure.
So first question is, are you generally pro-choice or pro-life?
Pro-choice.
Okay. All right. So my question is basically, just out of curiosity, kind of vet an argument that I have against pro-life people
Okay.
that can basically not be debunked if it's consistent. Because what I found is they will typically try to find inconsistencies in what you're stating. You know, they'll draw arbitrary lines. Oh, well, you know, fetus isn't a life at 6 weeks when a person in a coma, yada, yada, yada. You know the drill.
Okay, what's the argument?
So the argument that I'm making is a fetus is not a life until the end of the third trimester because there are 8 biological characteristics or something that must be alive, right? And one of those things, and the main one that I stick on, is homeostasis. A fetus by itself cannot maintain homeostasis, right, without biological dependence on the mother. And I differentiate between physical dependence and biological dependence. Physical dependence is, you know, somebody does work to do something, they expend their own energy. For example,
Well, just
if you
clarify, your
give
argument is that the fetus isn't alive?
it isn't technically a life, therefore not classified by the same thing. So you can't like classify it as an individual, for example, because that's what they try to do is claim that a fetus has the same qualities of life as an adult human.
Well, I mean, it's cells. All cells are alive, so I don't really consider that to be
Right.
much. And so
When I say a life, I'm referring to a sentient human being. Sorry, I should have clarified that.
My position is that it's immoral to kill anyone ever, and so once the fetus is conscious, it's immoral to kill it, but it's still justified because it's immoral to have one person be using another person's body without their consent. So I don't even care. I can just let's just grant it's fully human from the moment of conception, still justified to abort it. Don't care.
Okay, that's an interesting take. I never thought to separate the morality from the pragmatism of it, because I personally believe that someone's financial future should not be destroyed because they had an unexpected or unwanted child.
Right, I agree. So I think that the pragmatic application, most people do confuse the two and say that because on the left they say that it's moral to be able to abort the baby, where I disagree. I think that's always immoral to kill anyone ever, but it's pragmatically justified. So there's lots of things we have to do that are immoral but pragmatically justified. Like you're not going to go sell your home and give all your money to charity. Like that's, I mean, it'd be moral, but you're not required to do it just because it's moral. And there are times where you have to do immoral things, like the trolley problem. You have to kill one to save five, and that's perfectly justified. And so killing a person, like in self-defense, even if it's immoral, is perfectly justified. And so because the woman's body is being used by another person without her consent, she has perfectly justified to remove that person from her body, even if it involves killing them.
All right, thank you. That's actually a lot simpler than the road I was trying to go down. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Oh, I should probably leave the stage.
One second, I'm going to grab my phone. I just got a text. All right, I am back. Let's go on to person number 7. Taco, you there?
Yep, sorry about that. Had to step in the other room for a moment. And then we got Bob.
Yo, can you hear me on here?
Hello, Bob.
Hello. So I've been asking a lot of people online just about just a simple question, and I think lay people and some like well-read people are going to answer this differently. But TJump, when somebody asks you, how do you know something, right? How do we know that like our propositions are true or false? What answer do you give them?
Justified true belief.
All right, and what forms of justification do you think are apt to do the job of revealing truth?
Depends on the proposition, but I typically use just anything that can qualify differentiate imagination from reality. I think is sufficient to justify a belief.
Differentiating imagination from reality is enough to provide justification.
Yes, that would be a really good justification.
Okay. So would you extend that also to ethical judgments?
Yes.
So what kind of reasoning apparatus in terms of starting principles do you use when you engage in like ethical reasoning? What are your meta ethics, let's say?
Well, I use the evidence, the phenomenon of morality, and then based on the phenomenon, try to come up with the principle or pattern that seems to describe the phenomenon, and then use that principle or pattern to infer things about the future that, if true, this would hold or whatever, and then see if those are true.
Okay, so you believe that, are you a moral realist?
Yes.
Okay. If you think that moral propositions can be true, you think we can know them by way of principles, but you think the principles are going to depend on what we're investigating.
No, we don't know them by way of principles. We know them by way of experience. So we experience things that, like, we see babies being punched, we feel that's immoral. We build a hypothesis, say, if this is actually morally true, what is the principles that tend to describe the patterns in this? And then from that, we'd say, if these patterns actually describe some kind of objective thing in the universe, what else would we expect to find based on that?
Okay, so I think you're getting into sort of like what the phenomenal conservativists would call like a seeming, that we're going to have like a morally significant situation. It's going to make us feel a particular way. It's going to give us an intuition, and that intuition gives us some prima facie justification for believing a certain moral conclusion is true.
No. So there's no prima facie anything. It's just you have a sensation like anything. Suppose you're looking at an ocean in the distance. You now have an experience. That experience doesn't tell you whether or not the experience is true or a mirage. It doesn't tell you. What you do is you say, if it's true, I'm going to make a prediction that if I go over there, I'm going to get my feet wet. And then you test the prediction. And if it becomes true, then you have a justification to believe your hypothesis is true. Just the experience gives you nothing.
The experience itself. So if I do go into the water and my feet are wet and it confirms my hypothesis, that would
be a justification to believe that it was in fact a wet ocean.
Okay. So your first step in the process is actually some form of intuition.
Well, it's experience. So yes, you experience something, feelings, any sense experience, anything like that counts. And then based on that, you try to make a prediction.
Okay. So my thinking would be like before I get into whether, let's say, punching the baby is right or wrong, I need to have like some sort of maxim that's going to govern how I reason about this. I'm
Well,
going to
that's
need like
dumb.
some fundamental. Well, like for example, right? If I think that what's good is like maximizing well-being for the greatest number, and you think what's good
None
is
of that is
the
all irrelevant.
categorical.
All 100% irrelevant. So
Yeah.
we start
Okay.
with an experience, a phenomenon. Like if I see something, it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter how you think. It doesn't matter if we
Yeah.
agree or disagree. Literally irrelevant. There's a phenomenon and we experience it. That's where you start. And then you try to come up with epistemologies and methodological ways to explain that. But none of that stuff matters. The first thing that matters is there's a phenomenon.
Okay, so it's true that we're having an experience, and I don't think that we need to fully flesh out the nature of that experience to make true judgments about it. So I could not
Sure.
be absolutely certain that like the ocean is there or not, and I might even not even have like some foundational assumptions about what oceans and being are, but I
Sure.
could just say I'm having this experience. So I think it ties into the pragmatism you were getting at earlier, that regardless of what I might not know, there are some things that are going to seem undoubtable to me. Um, so it seems like you're kind of in favor of a kind of
No.
initial Cartesian doubt that's going to orchestrate how you go on your future reasoning.
No. So it doesn't matter whether you doubt it or not. That's also irrelevant. So again, how you
But
think about it just literally doesn't
Mhm.
matter. Like you can think about it any way you want. Makes absolutely no difference what you think.
So I'm a big critic of what deontic moral views, that things are always right or always wrong. And it's precisely because of this thing that we're getting at here, which is that I don't think we need 100% certainty to say that things are right or wrong. Like we can understand enough about a situation to say, yeah, maybe punching a baby's not good. That being said, do you not have any sort of normative ethical principles?
Yeah, I do. I think any involuntary imposition of will is always immoral. 100%, no exceptions, always, no matter what.
So anytime that will is mitigated, it's bad.
Yep, immoral. Yep.
If somebody says you ought wear a seatbelt, which is very paternalistic, this is
Yep, immoral. You know, they try to force you to do it. Like obviously what they say doesn't matter. Like I can tell you something, but if it doesn't actually force you to do something against your will, then it's not immoral. So if like you're forcing
well.
someone to do something against
Mhm.
their will, then it's immoral.
So there's definitely a difference between like the action of compelling a person to do an act in space time and having a sort of moral principle that we're going to treat as if it should inform our behavior. And in the latter case, would you say that even as just a normative declarative statement that you ought wear a seatbelt is wrong?
What again? Statements don't matter. So saying you ought not wear a seatbelt is just nothing. It's amoral. It's nothing. It's like saying, "Oh, look, a potato." Amoral. It's only immoral if it forces someone to do something against their will. So if it
It's
doesn't
only
actually
immoral.
force
Okay.
someone to do something against their will, it's not immoral. Statements can't force anyone to do anything.
Okay, well, yeah, okay, that's true, but the regarding ethical statements as factual is intended to like govern the way that we act, isn't it?
Sure, but I don't care.
Well, no, I'm not saying that you have to like care about that as like a mainstay in ethical thinking, like, you know, academically or whatever have you, but it's just the idea that you might be somebody who says the statement you ought wear a seatbelt is true, but then you would also say, I don't support seatbelt laws. Am I right?
What? So the seatbelt laws.
Because
Seatbelt laws would be immoral because they force someone to do something they don't consent to doing.
Mhm.
So that part is immoral. Yes.
Okay, so do you think any sort of paternalistic governance where we're telling people what's good for them and making them
What's good for them
comply is
again? That's
bad?
different. So well, forcing them to comply is bad.
Oh, no, 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 no. I know that we have a vague idea of what's good for them,
No,
right? But just
that part, telling people anything is fine. No words are immoral. It's only forcing people to do things they don't consent to doing. That's immoral.
right. And so what I'm saying is that the lawful intent behind it is that we know better that it's better for people if we all wear seatbelts because it'll reduce the rate of, say, like traffic mortalities, right? So even though we're using the power of the law to enforce this, we're doing it for some sort of ethical reason, a justified reason.
Well,
But
those are two
do
different
you?
things. So, like, you can do an immoral thing and have it be justified, like the trolley problem. You can kill one person to save five, and that's justified, but it's still immoral. You still kill the person. And so doing a bad thing to prevent a worse bad thing isn't moral, but it is justified. It's a justified immoral action.
Okay, so I think we could probably make a useful distinction between the sort of ethical justification and the, let's say, like the systematic justification. Let's say we're doing like an economic system, right? We're trying to organize our society in a certain economic way. We want to lean into either free market capitalism or if we want to go full commie or whatever, right?
Yep.
There might be ethical implications to those economic organizations, right? But that is going to be divorced from the ethics. So I think in your view, we could say things like, people ought eat, to survive, or people ought be able to eat to survive. But at the same time, you might say, hey, free
more
market
like
capitalism is the best system.
So people ought to eat to survive. Killing animals is immoral. And so even though you ought to do something to survive, it's still immoral.
Okay, so I actually don't know if this is a critique of the moral systems themselves. Like, I think you actually would like hand wave the moral situation so that you can make things get done in the practical, like goal-seeking sort of system.
Yeah,
Like,
so there's justified immoral action. So it's when you do something that's bad. It's still immoral. It's objectively immoral, but you need to prevent a worse immoral thing.
Oh, I would just need an example of that, I guess, and then so I can
That's probably
understand
the
it.
problem. If there's one person's going to die or 5 people are going to die, should you kill the one to save the 5? It's justified to kill the one to save the 5.
In every case.
No.
So you don't believe that some things are always wrong and always
It's always
right.
wrong to impose involuntary impositions of will. That's always wrong.
Even if that's to do something in the future that is more moral.
Yes, it's always wrong to kill one person to save 5, but it can be justified. Justified means it's a bad thing that you do because of your pragmatic limitations to prevent a worse bad thing. It's still a bad thing. Doing one bad thing to prevent a worse bad thing is still a bad thing. It's not good. So it's always wrong to impose imposition on will, no matter what. Even when doing so will prevent a greater imposition on will, it's still wrong.
Okay. I actually I don't know if I agree. I mean, it seems like if I know one person is planning on going on a killing spree and I kill that person, you could say, hey, it's wrong because it's killing.
Yep.
In some way, and
Yep.
Maybe I'll grant that, although it doesn't seem to be the strongest because we make excuses for killing people and killing animals all the time, right?
And that's also wrong. So I agree. Vegans are right that it's always wrong to kill animals. But again, if you're doing it to survive, it's justified because if you don't, you'll die. But it's still wrong.
Okay. So you're against like the sort of animal agriculture, right? We have like a surplus production of animal parts because we kind of butchering at like expedient rates.
The vegans are 100% correct that it is immoral to kill animals.
All right, gotcha. So as far as how we know, you're not going to go to something like ethical principles and start from there. You're going to start from your raw experience itself, create some sort of hypothetical judgment.
Principles. So the principles you mentioned are the things that come from the experience. You don't start with those.
Because this is actually how I develop my realism. This is something that I get from my friend Tartarus over at Pangburn. He says, well, we're going to have like hypothetical statements. Like if I'm in danger, I ought seek help. I'm in danger, therefore I ought seek help, right? Like we're going to get these categorical judgments from our normative judgments. So I think that's the kind of work that you're doing when you try to create like a moral idea.
Well, no. So that method is totally wrong. So you never start with principles. That's the dumbest thing you could do. You start with experience, a phenomenon, and try to make principles that describe the phenomenon. That's the correct way to do it. So we start with an experience of you see a baby being punched and you get a feeling, and then you try to describe that feeling. Well, what is the pattern to these feelings? And then you get the principles. Just starting with abstract principles is just dumb. It's just the wrong way to do any kind of rationale.
Well, is it an abstract principle that what is good is that which maximizes well-being for the greatest number?
If there's no examples or experience you're basing it off of, yeah, it's just an abstract principle by definition.
Okay, so you don't think that like our moral theories like capture like anything experiential? They're only just logical proofs.
Some of them are. So like the ones that are based off pure abstract principles that have no correspondence to reality, yeah, they're literally just abstract principles. But like lots of them, like moral naturalism or the versions of morality that are based on some fact of reality, those are not abstract because they're trying to build off of something we see. Those are the ones that are correct, the best ones, like utilitarianism, whatever.
So is it fair to say that you're more or less just a materialist?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and now just one other thing I wanted to get at real quickly is that in a discussion that you had with somebody, I want to say it might have been perspective philosophy. Oh, actually, no, it was Darth Dawkins. Actually, he was trying to push the whole foundationalism thing. One of those precepts was going to say you don't get to know anything if you don't have God in the equation.
Yeah.
And I think you told him something along the lines of that you affirm the cogito as a response to how you know that you exist. Now, do you actually think that the cogito is foolproof, or did you think you just didn't have a response to it?
The cogito is a description of your experience. So if you're trying to use the cogito as like you follow the premises of the conclusion and come to knowledge via that method, that's not how it works. The cogito
Okay, so
is
it
just
actually doesn't give you knowledge that
no,
you
no, no, no,
exist.
no,
It's
no,
just
no.
okay.
You have knowledge that you exist, not because of the cogito, not because of the argument. The argument is a description of the fact that you have knowledge because you believe you exist. So because by virtue of the fact that you believe you exist, you have knowledge. You don't have it because you've gone through some argument afterwards. It's simply by virtue of the fact that you believe you exist, you have knowledge you exist. And the cogito is just a way to describe that fact.
Okay. So you believe that we can know of our existence, rationally arrive at the truth of our existence.
Simply by believing you exist.
Wait, actually, no. It seems like you don't think we can actually rationally arrive at our existence. I think you treat the cogito as a descriptive judgment in the form of an argument.
Well, the cogito isn't the rationale you're using. The rationale you're using is literally just the experience. So you can rationally come to things without actually using like a formal argument. You don't need to use a formal argument to rationally have beliefs.
Oh, you don't need a formal argument to have beliefs, but you definitely need some sort of argumentation to justify those beliefs, right?
No.
So if we don't have to rationally argue our beliefs, then what would justify them in the absence of that?
Well, intuition, logical consistency, coherence.
Well, logical
Correspondence.
consistency and coherency are going to be between beliefs, right? We cohere between beliefs to find, the coherentism there.
In
But
some versions, again,
sure.
intuition thing that is just fine to use. So like, there's lots of different models of truth.
So you're gonna say like intuition is like is gonna be reason giving in and of itself.
In some cases, sure.
Okay, I think that's pretty interesting. And sort of lastly here, like, what is your working sort of ontology or your cosmology? Like, what kind of like what is our what is being to you? Are you a monist or?
I don't take a position on monism versus dualism. I really don't care. I think that material reality is all there is. So quantum fields are the most fundamental thing. Are they the only thing? Don't know, don't care. There could be multiple different forms of material stuff that is the fundamental nature of reality, but the only thing that has evidence of existence is material reality.
Gotcha. The theist is like Dawkins or any of these other guys, idiots like Mr. Batman, are going to push some sort of like foundationalism. They're going to say that without the
foundation. So just to clarify, foundationalism is fine. Like I have no problem with.
Yeah, I agree with you. I definitely agree too, because the reason why I talk to theists at all is because philosophically I can identify with the plight of trying to find some grounding relation that justifies all our beliefs that follow. But there are alternatives to foundationalism, sure. And I'm just wondering personally what you would be in favor of.
Well, I like foundationalism. I don't have any problem with the others either one. So it's foundationalism, infinite regress, and the circular reasoning. All of those are perfectly fine. I forget what the different epistemic equivalents of those are, but yeah, they're all fine as different ways to justify. I like foundationalism the best. Coherentism is fine. Correspondence, or I forget what they are. It's infinite regress, circular reasoning, and foundationalism are the three different versions. They're all fine. I don't really care.
Okay, so I mean, obviously, if we're doing a foundationalism and an infinite regress arises, like we can't really like learn about the world in that model, can we?
Sure, we could. Why couldn't we?
Well, because when we have an infinite regress, let's say an infinite regress is true and it's sound, so that we would say that every single like step up that ladder that goes infinitely up, like there's something meaningful there that we can extract. The issue with Plato's theory of forms is that people say they could be the form of the good. We can identify the form of the good because that would be like the sort of ground, and then all the forms come from it. But in an infinite regress model, if like we have the form of the form, like we stop being able to say things about some of those. And
well, with certain certainty, but you don't need certainty. You don't need certainty for knowledge. So the fact that we could be wrong and say I think this is the form because of some evidence, but it could be a different form that I just don't know about because of evidence I don't have yet. Like, so what? You can still have knowledge.
So there's a way we can have like a propositional attitude where we like stake our chips on like some future knowledge, and so we can have like concepts in
Future knowledge
yeah,
doesn't
okay.
matter. It's just fallibilism. Fallibilism is the position you can have knowledge without certainty. So if you have a justification that increases your probability that a proposition is true, then you're rationally justified in believing it. And if it happens to be the case that it is true, you have knowledge.
So I don't know if you could provide me some sort of like foundationalist theory that's privy to an infinite regress that is reason giving at all sort of levels of that infinite regress.
It's not, again, so the reason given is only at whatever particular stage you are at. So even if there's an infinite regress of things, say we're in a matrix and a matrix and a matrix, whatever, who cares? I'm irrationally justified in believing I'm not in a matrix right now. I don't need anything further.
And this is in virtue of just what your experience, or
Yeah, so I have an experience. I believe there is an external world. That belief I can use to make predictions, which justify my belief there's an external world. And it may or may not be the case I'm wrong about that. But if I'm right about that, then I have knowledge, and I don't have any like 100% justification. There's no infinite regress there.
like if you made a guess that somebody was being killed in the room next over, but it's soundproof, you don't hear anything, you don't see anything, and it happens to be the case that somebody actually is killed. At the time that you made that proposition, did you have the knowledge of it?
If you had a justification, yeah.
If it was justified, you had knowledge.
Yeah, justified true.
Even if you experientially did not commit some sort of correspondence relation to the state of affairs.
Yep, you don't need it. Justification doesn't need to be 100% in that way.
Interesting. Okay. Well, good stuff, TJump. I will catch you later, and thanks for having me on.
Yep, absolutely. Anytime. Talk to you later.
Thank you for coming up. We've got Square, I think is how you say it.
Yeah, that's how you say it. Also, yeah, it says ask anything, right? Doesn't it be like political or philosophical or bullshit?
Sure.
Okay, great. Do you play D&D?
Nope.
Damn. If you were to play D&D, what race would you be?
Potato.
That doesn't. Okay.
I don't play D&D. I don't know the rules.
I don't think it's a D&D race, T-Jump.
Like, if I don't know what the rules are, I don't mean, like, obviously.
Yeah, see, the thing said ask anything. It didn't say like specific topics, so I'm allowed.
So give them a selection of D&D races then.
I'm going with potato. I like potato.
Yeah, potato works. Potato fucking works.
All right.
Have a good one.
See ya.
80s man. And then we've got Duke.
What up?
Hey.
I just wanted to start off by saying that I'm a pretty big fan of yours. I've been following your channel for quite a while.
Thank you. Please send me money.
And you pretty much put the nail in the coffin for me in terms of my beliefs.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so I want to thank you. Anyways, my question actually comes from Godless Girl's channel.
Oh God.
She had a short on her YouTube channel where Matt Dillahunty's debating Matt Slick, and Eric Hernandez asked the question.
Oh, I like Eric.
Yeah. He says, how do you escape the vicious circular cycle of saying that I can trust my brain because my brain tells me that I can trust it?
Well, if your justification is only the fact that your brain tells you, then that's circular and you don't. But if you have something other than the fact that your brain tells you, then it can be justified. So you don't justify it simply by virtue of the fact that your brain tells you. Like, you justify it because it makes novel testable predictions. It corresponds with the evidence. And there's some coherence between other ideas. Like, you're not justifying it. Your justification for your belief isn't my brain tells me, therefore I believe it. It's based on some epistemic foundation, and the foundation is independent of whether or not your brain tells you.
Oh, interesting. So part of the follow-up that he did was that he said even if you can make some sort of testable predictions, he argued that you still have to use your brain in order to do that.
You are still using your brain, but it isn't the fact that you're using your brain that makes it justified. So the reason it's circular to use your brain to justify your brain isn't because it's only using your brain. It's like, the reason that's circular is because if you only use the fact that you're using your brain to justify that your brain is true, that's circular. But if you have other facts, like your brain tells you certain epistemic norms and you're using those epistemic norms, then it's not just your brain tells you anymore. It's your brain tells you and you have these epistemic norms. And so the reason it's circular is, again, only if the only fact you're using to justify it is the fact that your brain tells you. It's not, it doesn't mean all of the facts in your brain are under this category of your brain tells you. It's specifically that you're only using the fact that your brain tells you and not those other epistemic facts. If you have other epistemic facts, then it's not the case that you're only using your brain to justify it.
Okay. Another follow-up to that was that how is that better than a brain that's asserted to be just designed?
What? Well, I mean, if you have other justifications, then it wouldn't be. Like, the difference is there evidence of it?
I see.
So, like, if I claim there's a material world based on my novel testable predictions, that's evidence of the material world. And if you claim that there's design and, well, there just isn't any evidence of design because it's considered a pseudoscience by science, the difference is one has evidence, one doesn't.
I see. And you can basically make a infinite amount of assertions using just imaginary worldviews to
sure,
just to easily explain it.
Sure, but
just by asserting.
Well, that's where you need to find epistemology. Say, given an epistemology, this works because of some reason, and you need to test the epistemologies to make one reasonable. So that would be the difference, is you need an epistemology that has some kind of reason to believe it's true.
Okay. I got one more question for you. So is it true you can't do science without philosophy?
Sure.
And does that work vice versa? You can't do philosophy without science.
No, of course you can do philosophy without science. Literally, most people do philosophy without science. It's dumb, but you can.
Right.
It's like saying, can you play StarCraft without two hands? Like, sure, of course you can. So it's like the statement, all flowers or all roses are flowers, not all flowers are roses. So science is philosophy plus a better methodology. Philosophy on its own is just dumb. Like, you can have lots of terrible methodologies you use other than science. You just probably shouldn't.
All right, let me rephrase that actually. So you can't make a philosophically sound argument without science.
I mean, sure you can. Like, well, I think you're asking is, can you have a justified belief about external reality without science? Probably not.
I see. Oh, cool. Thank you for your time.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you, Duke.
Does anybody know how to drop items in Wulong? Help me out if you do.
And then we've got Biznal up again. And if anybody else would like to chat with TJump, feel free to raise your hand.
Hey, how's it going? Me again.
Hey.
So I actually clicked on this AMA by accident, so I wasn't entirely familiar with your politics. So I scrolled through a whole bunch of stuff. Could you just kind of very briefly describe the whole super straight thing to me?
It's a label to describe a particular group of people who have an ideology.
Okay, and what would that ideology be?
That they don't want to date trans people. Like, they are straight, heterosexual, and don't want to date people who identify as a different biological sex.
Okay, so I guess then my overall question, that it's kind of relevant to the first question, but not, is how do you feel about the general rise in anti-LGBTQ sentiment in America?
It's bad, I guess.
Okay, and what would you say we could maybe do about it on a pragmatic level? Like, I'm not talking, obviously we have to elect people that aren't going to do that shit, but I mean in the sense of, if I'm having a discussion with somebody who bases their ideas solely on some book says a thing, how can we reasonably combat that to onlookers? Because,
well, so debate doesn't really work to convince people. Like, there was several studies done that debate convinces single-digit percentage of people. So debate doesn't really convince anyone. So if you want to actually change people's minds, what you do is you have to demonstrate that a society that is accepting of whatever ideology works better and has advantages that their society or ideology doesn't, and then they will adopt it.
Oh, sure. Well, yeah, that doesn't work either, in the sense that people are against immigration, for example, when there's a plethora of data indicating that immigration is a net benefit for any
Nobody
society.
reads data. So when I say show them, I mean like literally you'd have to have like a city of immigration that has like no crime, lots of benefits. And so if all of the things that they can see when they go to the city is significantly better than the things in their city, then they'll probably be more likely to accept it. The data, nobody reads the data. That's not going to convince
Okay, so basically like treat them like toddlers where they have to physically see it before they recognize something to be
Yes.
true or observable.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, I think that's all from me.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming up. Then we've got QNox. And if anybody else would like to raise your hand, feel free to.
Just to extend on what you just said, do you think we learn?
Do we
from what
learn?
we do?
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
we've learned things.
Yep. So we've learned from ever move a certain way.
What?
But do you think that we're moving too quickly right now, or should we slow it down for people like conservatives to catch up, which they do all the
I
time?
have no idea what you were talking about. What is the context you were talking about? Like, I think that we should move technologically as absolutely fast as possible, no matter what, always.
Oh, okay. So then therefore, yeah, left behind of being conservatives.
Conservative? What? So conservative is a different thing. Like, I think that.
Oh no. Do you believe that conservatism is a control of situation as opposed to progressive, which is very much a who cares? Let's go.
I still have no idea what
Moving forward.
So like.
Okay, so do you believe that? Okay, so progressivism is absolute stupid, which I agree.
I think you're cutting out like every other
progressivism.
word or something. I think we're missing like.
So, and conservatism is a absolute stupid of no. 1% don't exist. Climate change doesn't exist. Racism doesn't exist. And the progressive goes, all those things exist, and we need to push forward and go. No, there's two diametric opposed situations here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, which one's correct? Because I
both
think
wrong.
there is one. The shift is one way. We're both wrong. But
Yeah, both wrong.
the shift is one way.
The shift. I have no idea what the shift you're talking about is. Like, I think
Well,
that
the shift is that the human race is progressive.
Yeah, for sure. Like as we gain in technology and resources, we become more inclusive. Yeah.
Yep. It will always move progressive. So, I believe in lots of things that are conservative, but
I'm a centrist, so I agree with
execution of
policies
conservatives. It's denial of fucking reality to fucking prove their point, which is so stupid. Because you don't have to, as a conservative, you don't need to be a fucking idiot.
It's true.
To prove your point.
True.
But somehow, that's what we're at.
True.
And
yes.
no wonder. Oh, we gotta fucking stop people getting educated or fucking whatever. Like, what the fuck?
Yes, the Republican Party.
Why can't
mostly dumb right now.
I don't give a fuck about the Republican Party. Why can't we? We can't actually. We have to stick together.
Well, what you need to do is you need to get a representative who is popular, who can rally the Republican Party, and who isn't an idiot, and then you can make them not idiots.
There's no chance. Do you understand? There's no chance in that. It's because we have to fucking stick together because we're stupid. We have to stick together with the stupidest person and the fucking smartest person. Go, oh yeah, I believe the fucking stupidest person and the smartest person. Okay, cool. Okay. Fuck. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, do you have a specific question related to that?
Mm-hmm. What would you do if you were the fucking
I would just start making the change in the world I want to see. Like I started a nonprofit church in order to create low profit or affordable housing for people. So I think that, hey, here's a problem that we should solve, affordable housing, and I'm just going to try to solve it.
That
so you
GoFundMe.
but how do you comprehend that with Trump
I don't care about Trump. I'm gonna try and do it regardless of who's president.
Okay,
I don't care.
cool. 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 Thanks, mate.
Yep.
That GoFundMe is pinned in the AMA discussion channel, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anything else, QNox?
Sure, I can go all night, by the way, but we couldn't.
If you have a few questions, you can ask a few questions. It's totally up to you.
You say you want to be middle. Not middle. You want to be
middle.
Middle. Yeah. You want to be compromising.
Compromising. Not really. I don't want to be compromising.
No, but compromising is a good word in the sense that you give, they take. You give, you take. You know, we all do that thing.
Well, I want to be right. I want to have my beliefs correspond to reality, and there are some Republican beliefs that are correct and some Democratic beliefs that are correct. I don't care what anybody else believes. I'm not going to be compromising. I'm going to say reality is right and everyone else is an idiot.
You have to say what your realities are, right here.
My realities?
Or what you think is right and wrong.
Yeah, so like there are many policies that have been proven to be extremely effective, like UBI has been tested in numerous cases and shown to have extremely successful policy implementation. And so we should definitely do that. Or we've definitely shown that single payer healthcare works around the world. They have countries with single payer healthcare have the absolute best healthcare in the world. And so we should do that. Finland's education system has been proven to be extremely effective. We should do that. So we should just do the things that have been proven to work.
You expect us to be you may agree with all this shit.
I think you're still cutting out because I didn't hear.
Because you could be a fucking cuck. You could be like what you say.
I still have no idea what you're saying.
You sound like a fucking liberal.
Well, I sound like someone who follows the evidence. Like it's been proven factually that UBI works. It's been proven factually that single health payer works. Like there are dozens of countries.
Or are you?
I'm centrist, so I'm not conservative. I'm not liberal. I'm just someone who follows reality. That's it. Like, if you want to try to refute all of the evidence that proves those things work, then feel free to attempt to do that.
I don't need to, mate. I just think
you don't need to disprove the evidence that disagrees with you.
No, not at all.
That sounds irrational.
Oh, it's very rational.
To ignore the evidence that goes against your position.
I'm actually being a fuckwit. I'm Australian, and I've somehow ended up asking you questions I shouldn't have, and will be taking away questions that honest fucking Americans who are fucking so stupid to fucking say anything would ever say.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming on. We can move on to the next one then.
Yeah. So this no, because you got to understand that this is what the fucking reality of the fucking America is. There's people there who actually. Us Australians.
There are people in America. That is
true. We fucking pathetically have more say in the Discord than a whole lot of fucking Americans because we're fucking involved in our fucking democracy, and we want to. Okay. And okay, well, anyway, I'll stop there. But anyway, try to figure that out if you can.
That's a tall order. All right, next.
Well, it's simple. Go right. talk to the next American.
Yep. Thank you. Abysmal again. What's going on, Abysmal? You got a lot of questions. Anybody else wants to come up? Feel free to raise your hand.
Yeah, part of me coming up again was I didn't see any other hands raised. I don't want those to kind of stagnate. And then the other part of it is I'm kind of getting a reference point based on other questions. Just I think to contextualize the last guy, at the very earliest, it's 11 p.m. in Australia, and at the very latest, it's like 4 a.m. So I think he's probably just very tired, or drunk, or both. That was a bit incoherent. But anyway, so when you say you're a centrist, that sparks some concern in me because my perspective is conservatism is just a reaction to social progress. It's inherently reactionary, and I struggle to find any views that have any sort of merit. So what would you say
You
is
mean
like
America?
a cornerstone
So
conservative?
like
In America specifically, yes.
Yeah, America's dumb. But yeah, there's lots of conservative values that have been very successful. Like Rogernomics in New Zealand was a very successful implementation of a conservative values in order to save New Zealand from an economic collapse, and it pulled them out of a recession. So there's lots of economically sound principles in conservatism about having a balanced budget, not overspending money. Absolutely none of it has to do with American politics. American Republicans are idiots. They're all dumb. Well, so are Democrats.
Okay. So when you say conservative, you're basically going off of like a global perspective where
Yes.
Democrats in the U.S. would be considered right wing elsewhere, basically like center right.
Sort of, but yeah. I go off like the actual definition, not America's definition, I guess.
Gotcha. Okay, that clarifies things for me a bit because I find it extremely difficult to justify any sort of conservative belief in America, within the scope of American politics.
Yeah, they're pretty dumb. They're pretty dumb.
Why do you think they're so dumb?
Because they're playing to their audience, their client base. What it takes to get votes is the people who are voting for you are the ones who have similar ideologies, and so the ones that the Republicans in America are going to vote in are going to be the ones who share the very stupid things that Americans believe in.
See, that's the part that I find so interesting because I, put my tinfoil hat on for a moment. It seems like there's almost an intentional sabotage of education in both the South and parts of the Midwest, intentionally to, I guess. So I'm not a capitalist, right? And I look at everything through the lens of the working class, and it seems to me like the whole point is for the bourgeois to split the working class, and that's what they're effectively doing by pandering to working class white individuals in America. Kind of separate from everybody else because they're, America's a big country, so their needs and desires are different than somebody in, say, California or New York.
I think you're thinking too much about it. I don't think there's some kind of intentional plot by the bourgeoisie, the rich people, to intentionally lead poor people to believe certain things. Like, not really. No, it's more just like Christian America has values that are informed by their ideological position related to money, which has been driven mostly by capitalism and some other things related to politics. But it wasn't like the bourgeois planning this out. Not really. It was just people being people, and the people who got in charge are the ones that have really ridiculous beliefs.
Yeah, I'm not talking about them planning out over it like it's a conspiracy theory that's been going on for 250 years. I'm saying more in the sense that they are noticing the division and then, I guess, making it more inflammatory. For example, Marjorie Taylor Greene or Lauren Boebert come to mind when they talk about how it's a conservative nation, being a nationalist is okay, etc. Or sorry, when it's a Christian nation.
Well, again, that's just true in general. That's just how things work. It's not specific to America. In human nature, the more extremes become more common. It's just always been the case. It's just an entropy-based fact.
Fair enough. I guess another question is, why do you think that the two sides are sort of falsely equated in that if you ask somebody who is a pretty hardcore capitalist, I would say like center right in America, maybe center right and like pretty libertarian, the type that's just like I don't want to pay taxes, just leave me alone. Why is it that they look at what they think the left could be versus what's happening, but they don't look at that same standard for the right? So example being, extreme left for me is forcibly rounding up capital owners, executing them, and redistributing their wealth, right? I'm not on board with that. Far right is, ethnic cleansing, genocide, etc. Not on board with that either, for obvious reasons. So why do you think when the right talks about the left, they view it in the perspective of that extreme, even though it's not happening? But when the left talks about the right, they talk about it in view of the extreme because it is happening. So why does the right make that conflation?
Because all ideologies talk about the people they disagree with contempt, and so they'll talk about them with the most negative possible interpretation. And it just happens to be the case that the Republicans are pretty negative, and so the most negative interpretation is very similar to what the actual description is.
Okay, that's fair. I say that's fair a lot, just to warn you.
That's fair.
Yeah, well, just a general comment, and I'll probably ramble for a bit because nobody else has their hand up. I like how your standard for things is basically the scientific method. You know, you have a hypothesis, you attempt to quantify that in external reality, and if you can, you accept it as knowledge. If you can't, you dismiss it, or you look for other tests you could do to try to do that. Why do you think religious types aren't scrutinizing their own source? You know, their whatever their scripture is in the same regard as everybody else.
Why aren't they criticizing the people they agree with?
Yeah, like I do that regularly. I criticize people I agree with regularly.
Because typically humans don't. It's very rare that people will challenge those of a similar ideology. That's something that is common in academia, in debate. It's not very common in common people. They usually have a group, an in-group, and then within that in-group, they don't challenge the people above them in their cultural authority range. And so it's just human nature to not challenge authorities, which is dumb, but it's how evolution has worked.
Okay, yeah, I guess kind of building off that, I have a little saying where I say, dumb people double down, smart people can assimilate new information when presented with, contradicting evidence.
It's called the Dunning-Kruger.
Yeah, well, my understanding of Dunning-Kruger is it was false confidence based on a lack of competence.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I guess I could see how that could be applied there. Fair enough. Looking, wow, still nobody has their hand up except that last guy. Okay. Why do you think nobody else wants to talk to you? Yeah, I mean, I think these discussions have been interesting. I think there's some.
Well, I mean, we do have a question from Corona Beard in the AMA question.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. All right, I can step out then so we can address that if you want.
No worries. Yeah, you're welcome to come back up too late. But
yeah, I've just been rambling. Like I said, so stuff doesn't.
Oh, cool, cool. Corona Beard, you had a question there. Thank you for coming up, by the way.
Yeah, I can pop up here for a second. TJump, thanks for being here. Really appreciate perspectives, mostly in line with your beliefs. You mentioned earlier that you think UBI works, but in many experiments, including the Denver-Seattle experiment, it failed miserably, according to most metrics. And I'm just curious about if you could go a little bit more in depth about your beliefs there.
Yeah, there's been about 24 different implementations of UBI, and I'm pretty sure like 90-something% of them all worked, all had a positive impact. There's obviously some that didn't, but pretty much every single one of them worked and had a significantly positive impact on the society. So it's not really controversial.
Oh. Okay, fair enough. We could get into a little bit more depth there, but what defines a positive outcome?
Raising the quality of living and the economic standard of the group of people.
Oh, so it's subjective. Okay.
No,
thanks for the answer.
Not subjective.
What's your opinion
Why
on
would that be subjective?
Well, do you believe in objective truth about the good of human beings?
No, but I do believe in objective truth about the good of an economy relative to human beings. So like an economy that starves people to death would be a unsuccessful economy based on our definitions of what we're trying to do with building an economy. So like a good economy is one that does not starve people to death, and UBIs have less starvation. That's a more successful economy by the definition of an economy.
So I would say that you're subjectively willing to trade off possible incentivization towards production for basal needs.
How does a UBI disincentivize innovation?
So if you're assumably taxing the populace to provide this UBI, you are removing some capital and ability towards production from the vast majority of people. So that inherently brings down their ability to produce.
No, it doesn't. I have no idea what you're talking about there. Like, having money isn't relative to the ability to produce.
We think we'd have to agree to disagree there.
Okay. Like, ability to produce intellectual things don't require money at all.
I'm not talking about intellectual production. I'm talking about material production. I'm talking about
most production is intellectual. Like, all technology is intellectual.
Sure. So would you agree that people with more resources to fund their research are more efficiently able to produce?
Not relative to people who have food. So, like, if 10% of the population is super, super rich and has lots of time to invent things, that will cause less innovation than if a large percent of the population is starving to death. And if a large percent of the population has food, then more innovation will happen, even if they have less money.
That would be speculative. And
that's
again, I think
that's proven, actually.
I would go back to saying that you're willing to make a trade-off between.
Well, no. So because I'm not. I mean, specifically, it's been proven that more people who have more money and more free time do more innovation than if a smaller percent of the population has more wealth. So a society that is more equal has more innovation, provenly.
Okay, so that leads into the next question. What is your opinion of dialectical materialism?
I don't know what you mean by dialectical. Like, which version of materialism are you talking about?
It's called dialectical materialism, based Basel founding Marxist philosophy.
Marxism
and method of analysis.
I don't care about Marxism at all, but I have not really studied it.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for the answers.
Yep.
Thank you, Corona Beard. Then we've got Kiwami.
Yeah. I just want to ask a question. What made you become an atheist, or was the
studying the evidence?
All right. And what do you think happens on the afterlife? Do you think we just black out? Nothing happens?
That's all the evidence that there is, but there is equally as much chance to have a heaven with no God as there is with a God. But the only evidence we have right now is that nothing happens. You just go to the same place you were before you were born, which is nothingness.
Oh, okay. That's it. That's basically it.
All right.
I was about to say something, but I don't have proof to back it up, so I think I'll end it by here.
That's fair.
Thanks, though. You have a nice day.
Interesting. Thank you, Kiwami.
You're welcome.
And then we've got Kunox again. And if anybody else would like to chat, feel free to raise your hand or put a question in AMA questions or subscriber questions.
TJump, are you a conservative or a progressive?
I'm centrist.
Centrist. Cool. And you are fighting for an election to win a progressive or a conservative state, or whatever. What are you trying to do?
Conquer the world.
That's going to be hard.
It is. It's going to be very hard.
Pinky. But anyway, like, all the questions I've heard and all the answers I've heard actually is, do you think you can take this to the people that you want your votes from?
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
I think you are hopeful. Like, I think you're a conservative who's trying to get votes from Democrats.
I actually lean left, so I'm a center left. I've taken the political test.
Okay, so is there a conservative in this conversation? There isn't, is there? So we are all.
No. I'm not a conservative.
I thought you were. Shit. So.
No.
Well, you're saying is okay. So okay. Well, how are you going to convince people who are not listening here?
because I'm making a church, a nonprofit, to provide affordable housing. So I'm going to actually act in such a way that demonstrates that my capabilities to run a country or whatever by doing the right thing.
That's not gonna work.
Possibly.
You've got to fucking hit their heartstrings.
But my concern isn't really convincing people. It's not like
Well, of course it is. You're a fucking politician, mate. I think you're absolute.
I'm a
absolute,
YouTuber. I'm a YouTuber.
Okay, let me ask you. Let me ask you if you have whatever state you're in or whatever fucking electorate you're in, and you've got 50% of the population who are
so
conservative.
just to clarify, I'm not
of
actually running for office. Like I'm just a YouTuber. Like I'm not actually a politician.
holy shit! What the fuck were we talking about then? Why the fuck is there a fucking people listening here?
Because I'm a YouTuber.
Holy shit! What kind of YouTube do you do?
Politics and philosophy.
Oh shit! You don't, and you don't do actually any representative work, or you're not. Oh shit! I thought you were actually going to do something. Fuck.
Yes, I am actually going to do something. Unlike politicians who don't actually do something.
Well, maybe have this conversation when you do something and let the people talk. But until then, you're a fucking cuck like the rest of us, right?
No, like I said, I'm actually doing something.
You're a grifter.
No, we can move on to the next person. This guy's kind of useless.
All right, I'm moving back to the audience. And then we have Brains.
What's good? How you guys doing? How you guys doing today?
All right, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. So, oh shit, wait, hang on. Yeah, so, oh, my bad. So pretty much like, so you're a philosophy YouTuber. So, what do you think about, like, that God started everything, you know? Like,
I think there's no
the
evidence
universe
for it.
Okay. What do you think about like just like the universe and just in general? Like, do you reckon there's like aliens and that?
Most likely.
Interesting. All right. Well, what about do you reckon aliens have like been to like the Earth like before? Do you know what I'm saying? Like in the past, and like we just don't know about it.
No, most
Like
likely
long
not.
ago. I reckon they have. Like, think about it. Like, you know, like think about like how many species there are in the world. Like, there must be one that just like came over to the world somehow, and we just didn't know about it.
Unlikely, seeing as how the nearest planet with life is several light years away. They'd have to spend.
Yeah, but think how far we've traveled. Yeah, in the small time we've had science, right? Think how far another species could have traveled.
Okay, so the speed of light is the fastest they could possibly travel, and light years. Yeah, that's physics thing.
Nah, they can go faster, man.
Faster than the
that's
speed
all we
of
know.
light.
That's yeah. We can go faster than the speed of light.
Really?
In England, in I mean, not in England.
In England,
the world.
in England.
Yeah, in England. Nah, in the world, bro.
And how exactly do you go faster than the speed of light?
What that happened the other day, man, when I was like driving on the motorway. Like, I heard this jet like flying over, and it was like a sonic boom, like it was on the news and everything. Like that's what happens, bro. Like
Okay,
the Concorde and shit.
That's called the speed of
it
sound.
went, like, oh, speed of light.
Yeah, speed of light.
Yeah, that's what it was sticky on. Yeah, I'm not too sure. Maybe not. No, never say never. You know what I'm saying? I swear a bullet can go faster than the speed of light.
No, bullets can go faster than the speed of sound. They can't go faster than the speed of light.
Bullshit. Ah, shit. All right.
Speed of light is
wait, no, but you can't see it though. Like you can't see it moving while it's going.
Yes, there's lots of things you can't see moving, but light goes a lot faster than what you can see moving. Like it takes 8 minutes for light to get from the sun to the earth, right?
I thought it just like if you go faster than the speed of light, like the plane like disappears or something.
No, if you go
'Cause it
faster than the
has no
speed of
light on
light,
it, like it
all of
goes
your
like see-through or
particles
something.
disappear and become nothingness. From a black hole.
Oh, so you become see-through in that.
No, you become a black hole.
Oh, damn. All right.
So yeah. As far as we know, nothing in
Yeah.
physics can go faster.
Hey, I'm
than
not
the
the
speed of
same
light.
troll, by the way. I'm just like I don't really know what to ask. To be honest with you, I just kind of ask random questions, you know.
That's fine.
But, yeah, man.
All right.
But can I tell you about like what this person said like about religion to me?
Sure.
And so they said that they don't think that religion should be like they don't see the point of religion. They just think it's pointless. Like there's no point of having religion.
Well, religion does have quite a bit of a point. It's evolutionary
That's what I said.
advantageous, which is why it's so popular in the world. It brings people together, gives people comfort. There's lots of points of religion socially.
Yeah, bro. Like I don't understand. Like he was just like fully like I don't know. Weird, man. But yeah, I reckon aliens like could be into the Earth. You know, I actually think that.
Why would super advanced aliens fly millions of light years to talk to I don't know, abduct some monkeys?
Nah, I mean they might have not done that. They might have just, you know, had a little look. You know, played a game of football or something.
So species that have enough technology that they could literally just watch us from where they are decided to come here just to look, because why?
I told you they just come here and look, play a game of football. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What's the South African guy who's one of the best soccer players? He's actually an alien. Elvis.
Oh, hard
actually
to
an
know.
alien.
South Africa. What are you
Yeah.
talking about today? There's no South Africans that are good at football, man. Come on now, buddy.
They're all aliens. Elvis was an alien.
Huh? Alien.
Yep.
Oh, well, I'm gonna let Connox come up. Oh wait, no, Connox was up here earlier, wasn't he?
Yeah.
No mind. I probably know some of these people, you know, in the audience right now.
If anybody would like to raise their hand, they're welcome to. But I mean, we've got Kunox and Q again, and I mean, what do you want me to just keep cycling the same people raising their hands, or what would you like to do here, TJump?
I'll just carry on. I'll carry on. So what do you think about Buddhism and like, you know, Buddhist philosophy with Nirvana and shit? I mean, you know,
Buddhism is one of the more moral religions, probably the top 5.
Wait, can I swear?
Can you swear?
Yeah.
No.
Alright. I was just making sure, bruv, because like, you know, they've got Christian chats and that, so you know, I thought I couldn't. But yeah, Buddhism, like, you know, what do you think about it?
It is more moral than most other religions. It is a very good religion for the most part.
Yeah. It's interesting. So what do you think about like science? Like
science is good. Science is very good. Science is the best.
All right. Okay. What about physics though?
Physics is cool.
Okay. What about psychology? I think
Psychology
is a science.
is less cool.
You think psychology is a science though?
Soft science.
Do you think Sigmund Freud's a base like guy?
No, he was wrong about most things. He was very crazy.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Is there anybody else with questions?
Jay could get up now.
All right, Brains, we'll go ahead and move you down. Yep, we got a couple other. I think Jay is going to be a troll, so I might move him back down immediately.
Sounds good.
What's going on, Jay? All right, we've got Kunox with more pressing questions.
A very, very simple question. So, so the last 10 seconds you were talking about, I'm not sure who was disputing, but the guy was disputing. What do you think would happen if the opposite was true? As in, oh yeah, let's agree with all these things. I'm not sure it was. It was a guy who has a mic on the okay. But imagine every time he thought something and went, oh yeah, this is a fucking bull fucking progressive fucking ideology or view. What do you think would happen if the opposite was actually enacted? And I apologize for the guy who's not the TJump for having to answer this question, but good to know.
I have no idea what you're asking. What would happen if?
Well, no, it's the question. The question is not to you. It's the question is to the person who's gone. Oh yeah, let's fucking you know. He's gone, but anyway, he's probably not. He's gone. Oh yeah, well we should fucking be angst, or we should have draws lines and whatnot. What happens when we do draw lines? I understand that J Trump is going to go. We can't go very progressive and going to be sitting in the middle. But there's only a couple of people here who are going to go. Oh no, we're going to be very conservative and go. This is what we're going to do. What do you think fucking happens when that happens? When we enact your fucking decisions, and the guy who's probably should be answering it is not going to answer it. But anyway.
Yeah.
Mataka, you can answer it, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not here to answer questions. I'm just.
No, okay, so, well, tell me which one of these motherfuckers is going to go answer that question.
Oh, nice.
I don't even understand what you're asking me.
Me neither.
All right. So I've got a question, TJump.
Sure.
So what do you think of Aquinas' 5 ways?
It's dumb.
So why is the first way motion dumb?
Because things can remain in motion perpetually without having started in motion, so motion doesn't require a mover.
Because of infinite regress.
Sure.
So what is your response to the quote-unquote sniper problem?
The Muslim one?
Yeah. I think that's what where there's like there's never first sniper. I don't even know how to phrase it. It's so dumb, but
yeah, it's if there's a bunch of snipers and nobody tells the first sniper to fire, how does the sniper fire? That assumes that time is linear and that time has a first person to have started the operation. And time is not linear like that. So you don't actually need someone to tell the first moment of time to move because it was already existing.
Right, because there could be a first moment in time and things existing prior.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Sure.
Gotcha. What about the second way, efficient cause?
Same thing. They're literally all the same argument, pretty much. I think there's a moral one at the end somewhere. But they're all pretty much the same argument.
Fair enough.
Why can't I counter anymore?
I don't see anybody else raising their... Oh, I'm sorry. We got Brenda. Brenda, I invited you up. Yep.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Morning.
Hey, I was wondering if you heard or saw Sabine Hassenfelder's comments with regard to ChatGPT and whether or not it understands the questions that's being asked.
I did not. I would assume she says it does not understand them and it's just responding like...
She says it partly understands.
I would probably disagree. I doubt it understands anything yet.
Well, not fully.
I would say it doesn't understand at all.
Why not?
Because I don't think it has a aspect of its brain that is conscious to have any kind of level of understanding.
Her argument is that she goes back and revisits John Searle's Chinese room argument, and she says that basically because the Chinese room itself is responding appropriately to questions in Chinese, that therefore the Chinese room understands Chinese. This is just what we mean by understanding is that you use concepts properly within context. ChatGPT does this, and so it at least partly or understands some of the things it says, but not everything.
Yeah, I disagree with that interpretation. That's actually something John Searle specifically responded to that in his paper in the Chinese room originally, where he said that some people specifically just define the entire system as understanding, not just the guy in the room, but the whole system, the first parts of the things going in and the second part of the things going out as just understanding. I don't think that's true. I don't think the understanding is just the process. I think it's like functionalism or something. I forget what it starts with an F. But I don't think that's correct. I would define understanding as having some kind of conscious level interaction with the data, to not just be the ability to respond correctly to some input. Because even if you respond correctly to some input, you still doesn't mean there's still no, what was it, the syntax versus semantics part? There's still no semantics understanding of the going in or the coming out of the data in that example.
Well, words don't really have meaning. They have usages. They don't have meaning themselves.
Well,
there's no intrinsic meaning. Huh?
Objectively, they don't have like intrinsic meaning. That's true, but that's not the point being expressed. It's more about do they have a meaning to the person listening to it? Yes. Whether it's objective doesn't make a difference. That doesn't matter.
Right, so if I understand only a few phrases of French, but I use them correctly, do I understand those phrases of French?
Sure.
Yeah, that's what she's saying.
Well, the robot doesn't have any of that. It doesn't understand anything. The ability to
it's
use
using them properly.
The ability to use it is irrelevant to the understanding of it. Using them.
Usage is all there is. That's all that it is. All that meaning consists of is usage.
No.
Yes.
No, because there can be incorrect meanings. Like you can use it in a way, and
there's no incorrect meaning.
Yeah, there is.
It's just usage.
No.
You're claiming that there's some
I can
objective...
use a word that I intend to mean something, and you understand it to mean something differently.
Yes.
So I could be using it correctly from your perspective, but my intention was to get you to understand something you did not. So the meaning that I conveyed was incorrect, even though the usage was correct.
No, there's no objective meaning to words.
Objective is completely irrelevant. I didn't
so
say
if
objective.
I say
I never said
guy,
objective. If I have an intended usage of the word, the meaning is the thing I intend to convey to you.
That's what it means.
No. So if I have an intended usage where I intend to convey information to you, and I'm using the words correctly, but you don't understand it, or vice versa.
There's no correct.
No.
There's no correct.
I literally
usage.
stop interrupting. Stop. I literally just explained this. I have an intention. The intention is the meaning. And if I intend to convey information and I use words to convey information, but you don't understand them, or you understand them differently, then I could be using the words correctly usage, but the meaning you're missing. You're missing the meaning, even though I have a perfectly valid usage of the words.
Yeah, it could be intentional and normative, but it's like with saying gavagai, right? Gavagai could mean something other than rabbit. It could be just disconnected or connected rabbit parts, right? So there was no meaning.
The meaning is
conveyed.
The intention. It's the intention of the consciousness that's using the words.
Yeah. And I can fail. My intentions can fail.
What? Yeah. But that's
that
what the
doesn't
meaning
mean
is. It's not just function. So the computer has no meaning. It doesn't care. It's just using the function. So if I have a meaning when I convey words to you, it is the intention I'm using those words to express. The computer has no intention it's trying to express. So it has no meaning, has no semantics, has syntax, no semantics.
they have goals. They have goals.
The computer has goals.
Yeah, that's created during. Yeah, I think they do.
How?
It's a lot of it's goal directed, right?
No. Like, is
I
bacteria
think
goal directed?
yeah, they need to satisfy their need for food.
No, they don't have goals or intentions, because goals are, again, intentions. Evolution does not have a goal.
Well, no, but I think you can talk about bacteria having a goal. The goal is to feed and to reproduce, right?
Does evolution have a goal?
No.
Then how does bacteria have a goal? Because it's the exact same as evolution.
I don't think they are. They have a mechanism.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the mechanism has a goal.
No, the mechanism does not have a goal. The mechanism
Sure
has
it
an
does.
effect. It doesn't have a goal. It's not like evolution was like, you know what? I'm gonna make things survive better, and that's the reason I'm acting in this way. No, it's just physically.
So
are
intentions magic?
No.
Well, where do they come from then?
Your brain?
Right. A mechanism.
Yes, with consciousness. Bacteria do not have that.
I don't think you have to have consciousness to have goals.
Pretty sure you do.
I don't think you do. I think we can talk about machines that are unconscious having goals.
I don't think that makes sense. It seems like gibberish to me.
Yeah. I can build a robot, and the robot is collecting bluefish.
Yeah, I don't think the robot cares.
It has a goal. Yeah. Well, I don't care if it cares. It has a goal.
No, you have a goal for it. It doesn't have a goal. For it to have a goal, it would need to have consciousness and intentions and desires.
Or you're just pushing the question back about naturalizing intentionality.
No, I don't care where intentionality comes from.
Intentionality has to have a natural origin, unless
I
you're going
agree,
to claim.
but I don't care. Like, if a heart exists, for it to be a heart, it has to have a particular function. So I think goals are kind of like hearts. It is a thing that can only come about after something has consciousness. I don't care if the consciousness comes from a brain or not. That doesn't make a difference.
Well, maybe the function of a heart is to go lub.
It could be,
right?
but that's not what I mean by the word. So I don't think that's correct.
But you don't know that. So that's another objection that's been raised about evolution and natural selection, which is that the goal of the heart could simply to make the sound lub. That's an objection that was brought up by Jerry Fodor.
Yeah, I don't think there are any goals of the heart. It doesn't have a goal.
Or its function, its purpose.
It doesn't have a purpose.
Yeah, so you just seem to be denying naturalizing intentionality when you want to, and sort of appealing to some kind of magical quantity of intentionality.
What?
A ghost in the machine.
Intentionality
There's
is
no
a
ghost in the
function
machine.
of the brain. It is a function. It's not magic. It is a function of the brain. So if you don't have a brain, you don't have intentionality. Intentionality doesn't exist. It's an emergent property. So it comes about from other things. And if you don't have those other things, then you don't have intentionality. Like a heart is a emergent property of biological systems of some kind. So if you don't have a biological system, you don't have a heart.
I think it's possible that the brain is a mechanism, right? So intentionality can be the product of a mechanism.
Sure.
Right. So I can think that it would be possible. I don't think that ChatGPT has intentions. I mean, I'm not really saying that. I think it could be in the future. There are newer models coming down, and it could be that in the future, those models have intentionality. Right?
Yeah, like in the future, it could have intentionality. I fully agree. I just don't think it does now. So I don't think right now it has any.
Well, no, but Sabine's argument is that it partly understands.
Yeah, she's wrong. It understands nothing.
I don't know. I think I found her Sabine's argument fairly. It was convincing to me, and I think it's a decent argument.
It's just defining understanding in a way that doesn't
It's
entail
use.
any understanding.
Yeah, it's understanding isn't magic
a rock
either. It's
understand that it's falling?
If a rock could reply to my questions about English grammar in a way that that it uses those concepts correctly, then I would say that rock understands English
does a rock
grammar.
understand gravity? It uses gravity perfectly well to get to the bottom of the
Well,
mountain.
no,
Understand it?
rocks don't have.
Right.
Rocks aren't really a mechanism, right? But
rocks are a mechanism.
But Chet, huh?
Rocks are perfectly well a mechanism. A mechanism is just any system that does something. Like we call it a mechanism because we have a specific intended use, but any mechanism that does something is, or any object that does something is a mechanism. Like protons are a mechanism in order to transfer energy.
I think that's too broad of a definition. It's not what people mean by mechanism. People don't mean by mechanism a rock falling. They don't think that that's a mechanism.
Right, but that's the problem with your definition of mechanism. If you're saying a mechanism as defined by you is anything that, or anything will have understanding, then you're defining mechanism based off of your intended usage of a device. It's just not the case.
That's all that words mean, is what they're used as.
Right, and most people mean intention and understanding as not as having consciousness. So if you're going to want to go by what people mean, they do not mean what Sabine Hofstadter said. They mean what Mary's Room guy said. Jackson.
Yeah, he changed his opinion on Mary's Room.
Not Jackson. The guy who wrote it.
You're talking about John Searle, and you meant the Chinese Room, not Mary's Room. Mary's Room was by Jackson, which was about qualia.
Yes, the Chinese Room. That's correct.
Yeah,
so people mean understanding.
Get wrecked, Tom. Get wrecked. Get wrecked.
Yep, you got me on that one. So yeah, when people mean understanding, they mean consciousness, a conscious intention. That's what people mean by the word. So if you just mean some kind of mechanism that does something, like most humans will say, that's not understanding at all. It's just not.
If I'm unconscious, if I'm in an unconscious, dreamless sleep, could somebody say put forward the proposition that I intend to write a novel? Nope. And could that proposition be true?
No.
Yeah, of course you can.
No, it could have been a past tense. You intended to write a novel.
No,
but in your current state, you don't intend to do anything.
They could attribute to me the intention that I intend to write a novel.
No, it would be past tense.
That proposition would be true.
No, it would be false. It would obviously be false. It would obviously be false. Like it would have been past tense. You past tense intended to write a novel. Now you're in a coma. Now you don't intend anything. You have no intentions.
I think when people say something like that, what they mean is that if that person were to wake up out of their sleep,
because they were conscious,
they would have,
because they were conscious. So they say in a conscious state, they intend to write a novel.
Yeah.
In
they have intention.
State. No, only if they're conscious.
I think that's overly restrictive. I think people would say that. I would think people would say.
Well, so let me phrase it to you this way. If someone will never regain consciousness, will someone say they intend to write a novel?
I think they would say that he intended to, but because he's in a coma, he could no longer satisfy. He can no longer satisfy that
So if I ask, does this person in a coma have the intention of writing a novel?
I think the way people talk is it would be they would say that if he came out of the coma, he would still have the intention of writing the novel, but he doesn't. He can't
because
satisfy
the intention it comes from the consciousness.
desire.
Because the intention comes from the consciousness.
Well, I think it's more of a disposition, right? He has the disposition to write a novel, and because he's incapacitated, he can't satisfy his disposition.
No, I don't think anybody would agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's how people talk.
It is not.
I think it is.
I've done this thing where I've spoken to people, and they do not think that unconscious people have intentions.
I do. I think it's perfectly reasonable to say, that author. It's a sad thing. He was going to write a novel, but he slipped into a coma. So if we could medically bring him back out of the coma, he would still want to write that novel.
Well, I've already addressed this. Like, they only have the intention if they're conscious. If it's never conscious, he will never have the intention.
Mm,
It is not possible to have an intention if you are not conscious.
I just think you're being overly narrow in your usage, and that people would say that.
I don't think so. I think you're confusing people's generic colloquialisms with how they actually understand the word, and I don't think of anyone ever that I know of would think that you can have an intention without a conscious state. Like, that's just not a thing people think.
Do you think intentions are dispositions?
Depends what you mean by disposition.
Well, a disposition could be something that you're not really conscious of.
Then no.
Right? Because like a rock has a disposition to fall.
Sure.
Because it has the potentiality, if it's, elevated, to fall. It
Sure.
doesn't have any consciousness.
Sure. Then it does. Then I would say you can, by that definition of dispositions, then there is no disposition or dispositions would be a broader class of things than intentions. Intentions are only classes of things that are conscious.
I think intentions are what come out of a sufficiently complex brain.
Sure.
That has dispositions.
Sure.
Right.
I would agree.
So I have a because my being thirsty is a disposition. It's because it's like my body saying I need
Sure.
water, and then I form the intention of getting a glass of water. The intention is dependent upon there being a disposition.
All right, I've got to go pretty soon because I have a modern day debate at noon.
Okay, well, I didn't mean to.
No, it's fine.
I didn't mean to
take up time.
Huh?
Appreciate you coming. It was great.
Yeah. You're still wrong. Sabine Hassenfelder is right. No. She's prettier than you, Dave. She's prettier than you.
Did you just call me Dave?
I don't know why.
It's okay.
I had no intention. I had no intention. It was just a dispositional thing.
So you didn't understand it. I got it.
Wrecked.
Yeah.
Wrecked.
Well, thank you for coming up here. You have an awesome weekend. And everyone, thank you for coming to the AMA. It was fun. TJump, you're awesome. Make sure you guys click his links. Do you have anything you'd like to close out with?
Join the Atheist Church. Check out my link in the description. Send me monies, please, because I want to start my atheist church and provide affordable housing. It's very moral. We're going to conquer the religious churches by having a better one.
All his links are pinned in discussion. I'll go ahead and close it out now. Good luck with your debate here in a little bit. Is that good? What channel is that going to be on?
Modern Day Debate and mine. Mine is better.
Yep. Well, I'll be watching that. Y'all have a good one. Take it easy.
All right, now let's go to. I need to end the stream, don't I? And start a new stream. I don't want to do that. I can just upload it. Can I just upload it later? I can probably just upload it later. Yeah, let's just do it from here. All right. I need to go to Modern Day Debates. I need to go. Where is the link? There it is. Not the link. Howard, where is the link? It should be there, right? Like I literally just it comes up on my phone. No, that's the Howard link. All right. I guess I'll hang out my Discord for a little bit. What's up? I'm streaming.
Hello. Heck yeah. What are you streaming? What are you playing?
Wulong. Wulong is a great game.
Wulong. Let's
Has
look
a
it up.
phenomenal combat system. Very much better than Dark Souls. Dark Souls kind of sucks.
Do you mean Wukong?
No, I mean Wulong.
I typed in, it doesn't like it. So give me Wukong back.
Brand new game. Fallen Destiny. Wulong Fallen Destiny. Or Wolong.
Oh, okay. There it is.
You're supposed to be in the kindergarten on politics?
I was just there. I was doing a Q&A.
Oh.
But now there's a modern day debate thing I have in 8 minutes-ish.
Oh, cool. Good luck. What topic?
Do dragons exist?
No.
Oh, nice. You're not debating Mud Fossil University, are you?
No, I'm debating the flat earther Howard.
Okay.
I would bet on you.
Well, if you say dragons don't exist, then Soph's just going to think she just won the debate we were in.
They don't exist presently or ever existed? Or both?
Well, Komodo dragons exist.
Oh, right. That's true.
Theo, you were right. I'm sorry.
Thank you. It was very nice of you to concede.
Well, I
Well
don't want to
done.
embarrass myself.
One sec, I
anymore.
gotta reconnect. Hold on.
You go. Ah, Fred.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, ça va?
Ça va, ça va.
Oh, you asked me. Oui, ça va. Oh, Fred, I'll get better. I promise.
Okay.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Oh, damn. Carl Sagan's Apple took off. Nice.
Carl Sagan's Apple took off?
It's a short I made on my YouTube channel. It says Carl Sagan Apple Pie is what it's called. And it, for the first 2 days, it only got like 300 views. Then it got 1,000. And then it got 4,000.
Damn.
It's not actually very good. 5,000 is like meh. But my biggest one's at 300,000.
Dear Lord, Tom, that last one was rough listening to.
Which one?
Brenda.
Oh, gotcha.
Does it upset you at all when you hear people say, "Well, I think and I feel" in the conversation? Because
it depends. Like if the person is
kind of fuck the conversation for me.
I don't think so. I think it depends if the person is educated in philosophy and they're using it specifically contextually to as an argument that like if someone says, well, I think, but what they mean by that is that your only justification is your opinion, and so I can just present my opinion as a counter argument. That's perfectly legitimate reason to do it. But if they're just doing it in a to be flippant because they don't understand the argument, yeah, that part's dumb.
And that's kind of what I got the impression was from the way she was putting it. Do you disagree?
I think no, Brenda's pretty well acquainted with philosophy, so I think that she was implying that because she thinks that her interpretation of the argument was equally as valid as mine, or it had equally as much justification, or something along those lines, seemed to be the way I interpreted her usage of it.
I think you're far more charitable than I would have been.
I do get that a lot, though.
I think it started after I had a discussion with some preceptor somewhere where he was talking about sensus divinatus. And so that was his justification for it, for a lot of the stuff he was talking about. Essentially boiled down to, I have this feeling, you can't question it, and I shouldn't deny it.
I would just deny it.
Well, I sort of relegated it to non-importance because it couldn't back it up, right?
What are you playing on, Tom? Are you on PS5 or do you download it from Steam or something?
PS5.
Yeah, it's even $60 on Steam.
I just got.
Damn.
I do GameFly, so they just send me the disc.
That's right. Yeah.
You have to have a lot of time to finish those games while you have them. It's like renting them, right?
Yep. Because I don't actually keep them. Like after I finish the game, I pretty much stop playing.
Any games you play a lot that are very old?
No.
I was a beta tester in Team Fortress 2. I still play that even though it's like 14 years old.
Wow.
Did you have one of the shiny hats?
I have many shiny hats, but I also have a badge that says I'm a primeval warrior because I was one of the beta testers.
Damn it.
I, for a while, had a very interesting loadout. When Australian weapons first came out in TF2, I was working and I just decided, you know what? I'm going to buy them all. So I bought, for about $1,500, I bought all 3 Australian weapons.
How? What?
Why?
And
1,500?
almost literally the next day, I was opening up one of the crates and got myself a hat that was a modest pile of hat, but it had a special Halloween effect. Very rare one. It was only the 3rd hat that had ever been found. And its value was something like another $1,000 on top of that.
Jesus.
And so if I was walking around for a while playing a demo man, and what he was wearing was at least, $2,500.
That's crazy.
Did you sell it?
I had a gaming budget and I like to spend my money.
Yeah, if that makes you happy, why not?
I prefer taking the challenge route of like Warframe is a game I played. It's a free MMO. But they have things you can buy with money. Like you have their like platinum, whatever. And I wanted to see if I could get all of the rarest stuff without ever paying for it.
And did you?
Yep.
That sounds awesome.
Sounds very grindy.
So it's very true. Not pay to play. You could actually win everything.
Yes, because it has a market system where you trade stuff, and I was trading just like the basic stuff that you get, and got all the way up to the super expensive stuff that was being sold for thousands of dollars. Because the biggest thing was called Rivens. They're weapon attachments that give you like, they have multiple levels of stats, 4 of them, 3 positive, 1 negative, and you have to roll to get the randomness to see if you get the perfect one. And I got the perfect Riven for the perfect gun, the highest, most expensive Riven that was being sold for like $1,000, $4,000 on eBay. I just started collecting them, and then I got like 60 of them, 1 for each weapon. Oh, I think that's the link. Yep, there's the Zoom link for the modern day debate. All right.
All right. I think this is the first one. I hope you lose.
The dragon. I'm going if dragons do exist. Shut up.
Okay, never mind.
Equivocation fallacy.
I mean, Howard is he's a really tough debater, to be honest. Yeah, because he doesn't have any reason, so it's very tough to debate him. I mean, he's so fucking crazy that it just see what I mean? It just fucks up your brain. I mean, even listening to him.
I think you might be able to just Bugs Bunny him, Tom. Just you're like, no dragons. He's like, yes dragons, no dragons, yes dragons, and then you just go, yes dragons. He goes, no dragons, and then you just like, I win.
Yep. Yeah. Where's my Zoom? There's my Zoom.
Who are you debating about dragons?
Howard the Flat Earther.
I mean, he's not only a flat earther; he also have many other weird beliefs.
Yeah, but the Flat Earther one is
crazy.
You are safe to talk.
Yeah, it promises.
Is
to
someone
be a
holding you
shitstorm.
to against your will?
Yeah, modern day debate.
Are you being forced to do this? Do we need to call the authorities?
Yeah. All right.
Hey.
Turn off camera. Can yeah, my voice is being picked up there. All right.
Yeah, I can hear you. How's it going?
Pretty good. I'm live and talking to other people. Just FYI.
Oh yeah, you're all good.
Right.
Yeah, sorry for the late invite there. Yeah, I thought somebody else was sending
Yeah,
it there, and
great.
James messaged and said that was just a typo. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'm on it. Yeah, we're just gonna wait a few minutes here for other
See if I
debaters
can-
show up here, Howard, and then we'll get right to it.
Should we mute the channel so we don't distract him?
No, I'm
No,
gonna
he's
leave. I'm gonna leave on the Discord. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That means we can't
Yeah.
whisper you the answers.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get this
I
ready.
think he'll be all
He sent
right.
me some stuff
Just,
here, so I'm
just
just
stick firm to your guns. No dragons.
Yep.
pretty excited to talk about dragons.
But what do you mean by dragon? Perhaps it's a metaphorical dragon.
Oh,
Potato
I
dragon.
know what he's gonna say. He's gonna present some
I'm
old,
a bit of a
weird
dragon. I
descriptions
hoard
of dragons
things
and
to a
say,
degree.
"Oh, look at."
All right. Let's see. I'm thinking about ending my stream and starting it over again because I was just streaming a Q&A. I'm undecided.
All right. Yeah, I'm just gonna put the I'm just gonna start the stream on the YouTube there and get the thing up, and I'll keep my I'll just hush, I guess. I'm just hanging out.
All right. Yeah, I think I'm going to end the stream. All right, guys. Thank you for Phil Kindergarten 2.0, and I will see you guys next time. And if you want, join in again about 5 minutes to see me debate a flat earther about whether dragons exist. Check out the Atheist Church. Donate.
I'm just getting
subscribe stuff. Peace out.